If I were to create the perfect dress watch, what would it look like? Well, I'd want it to be sub 40 millimeters, I want it to be made out of precious metal, no complications, but more than anything, I want it to be obscure, understated. I want it to be kind of stealthy, but to those in the know, it'll be anything but mediocre. Enter my Ebel 1911 chronograph. Now, while it does break some of the criteria I just put forth, after this episode, I think we'll give it a pass. It's 12:54 p.m. Let's get down to business. Okie dokie, right off the bat, this is actually a sub 40 millimeter watch. You'll notice it has kind of a unique case shape. The crown here kind of has crown guards, like the crown is recessed into the case, and then there's a matching protrusion here on this side of the case. We're gonna go ahead and measure it at the widest point, trying to exclude the crown and the pushers, but still getting that protrusion there. It is right about 38.5 millimeters across. Now we'll measure the thickness. This is 11.2 millimeters thick. And then of course, let's take a look at the most important metric, the lug to lug. I believe it's over 40 millimeters. Yes, 42.6 millimeter lug to lug. That is not bad at all. For a multitude of wrists, this is gonna fit you just fine. Large, small, boom, perfect. Okay, so sub 40 millimeters, we can go ahead and check that off the list. We're still within my criteria for the perfect dress watch. And then when we turn the watch over and take a look at the case back, we'll see here, 18 karat Swiss. This is 18 karat yellow gold, a solid yellow gold watch. Quite hefty too, so again, precious metal, boom, check that off the list. Which brings us to the point where we may deviate from my criteria for the perfect dress watch. You'll notice immediately, this is a chronograph, okay? I know, I said the perfect dress watch has to have zero complications. I want it to be simple, clean, uninterrupted, elegant, but you'll notice 2 pushers, 3 registers, and not to mention an offset date complication. So fine, you caught me. This is in fact a chronograph, but to refer to this watch as just any old chronograph, it would be a disservice, not only to this watch, but to horology as a whole. You see, this Ebel 1911 is an El Primero chronograph. That's right. This watch is powered by arguably one of the most prolific chronograph movements ever, the Zenith El Primero automatic chronograph. Now, this is the first column wheel automatic chronograph, not to get confused with the Seiko 6139, which is simply the first production automatic chronograph. But this Zenith El Primero powering this Ebel, again, one of the most famous, one of the most horologically significant movements out there. And yeah, it's a chronograph, but look how smooth that chronograph hand runs. Again, I think we can look past it. Now I'm gonna go ahead, take off this beautiful Omega Seamaster 1020. Look at that integrated bracelet. We'll throw this Ebel 1911 on the wrist, and I can kind of gush about it a little bit more, brag about this very, very unique watch. So here it is, my Ebel 1911 El Primero chronograph on my 7.5 inch wrist. Beautiful strap, very comfortable how it fits into those lugs. Very, very nice wearing watch as a whole. Again, a bit hefty, but you can get used to that. I mean, come on, it's solid yellow gold. But yeah, speaking of that El Primero movement, you know, there's been a few watches to use that powerhouse. Let's see, there's Rolex Daytonas that use the Zenith El Primero. There's even Movado chronographs that use the Zenith El Primero because, of course, Movado had a relationship with Zenith in the past. We've actually been lucky enough to see a few Movado Zeniths, or Zenith Movados, I should say, at the Time Teller shop. Of course, they get scooped up immediately. And then what's interesting is a little while after this watch was made, Movado acquired Ebel. So it's kind of serendipitous how all these companies work together. But as far as all the watches that have used the El Primero movement, none seem to capture the same charm and kind of obscurity as this watch does. It's just a very kind of, I don't know, industrial yet elegant, beautiful yet somewhat bizarre watch. I mean, look at it. It's gorgeous and kind of refined in a way with the applied Roman numeral indexes and of course solid yellow gold case, but then it's industrial how you can see the screws kind of riveting through the bezel there. Yeah, it's just this weird juxtaposition of kind of beefy yet soft and subtle. I can't really explain it. You look at the dial and it's you know, gold trim everywhere. My favorite part are the gold linings around each register, and of course how the indexes play with the light there. You can see the tachymeter on the chapter ring. Just a really fun, elegant, somewhat pristine dial. And then when you look at the case, again, those screws and that kind of oblong case shape, it's just weird. And I love it. So long story short, I knew that when I introduced this watch to you guys during my State of the Collection series, it would get a ton of questions. And yeah, it is probably the most unique watch in my collection currently. I mean, come on, it is precious metal, it is sub 40 millimeters. It does have a very cool complication and it's very orologically significant as far as the movement goes. And it does get a ton of attention, especially from other watch enthusiasts. So guys, I actually did make an episode about this watch when I first started my channel, but no one saw that episode. So I figured, especially after showing this to you again during my State of the Collection, it deserves a second look. So guys, is this the most impressive, the most prolific, the most expensive fancy chronograph out there? Absolutely not. But after a few more moments and taking a second look at this watch with me, I think you'll see why this is perhaps the best luxury chronograph that you've never heard of. So yeah guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Again, kind of a second look, a little revisit with this watch, because I'm sure some of my newer subscribers never saw this watch until I did that State of the Collection series. And I know even my longtime viewers, a lot of them did not see that earlier episode with this watch. So again, this watch definitely deserves a second look. And yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon so you do not miss out on any of the content we're doing here at the Time Teller channel. Thank you so much for 103,000 subscribers. You guys freaking rock. Special thanks to my channel members. I can't do any of this content without you. If you want to join the channel, it's like $4.99 a month. It's essentially YouTube's Patreon. You get an extra piece of content every week, and you get access to the members only Discord chat. Hit that join button next to the subscribe button, and again, you're helping me out a ton. So guys, thank you so much. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with everyone you know. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Always remember, I didn't invent time, I just tell it.